having a mock game here in this stadium to get prepared for this first round. And man, this is a football team that right now, if you really start projecting forward and assuming that this, result holds, that matchup against Texas Tech could be an absolute heavyweight. And this is a football team in Oregon itself that looks like right now it can play with anybody in the country. It has to be considered one of the teams that could challenge for a national title for sure.
If we look forward to Oregon, Texas Tech, what do you think the over-under on that game will be? That'll be a high total.
Yeah, well,
it's two teams that can score.
They sure can, but at the same time, they can play some great defense.
That's true as well.
I mean, Texas Tech's defense is as good as any in the country. They can absolutely just torture your pass rushers. I mean, your pass throwers, your quarterbacks, because of their pass rushers. It's going to be a great playoff overall, no matter what.
Oregon was a top 10 team, points against defensively this year as well.
That's right.
Down to Chris.
And you thought Dan Lanning was just going to be okay running the ball, letting the clock bleed out. That's not the case. He had his team out here warming up with 5 minutes left on the clock. That's way earlier than they usually do at a halftime. It's 3 minutes earlier than JMU came out of the half. He said, I want to put our foot on the gas. When we get the ball back, we're going fast.
Let me go back.
What do you mean?
I guess we were
Well,
off
there's
so long,
a reason that
let me
you're trying to stay in a groove to get ready for the next game in the college football playoff. And I think that guy is in a groove right now. 4 total touchdowns accounted for in the first half. Dante Moore, 3 through the air. And he had 1 on the ground. So Alonzo Barnett back to work to start the third quarter. James Madison hoping to find the end zone. A crab crawl run. Up the middle for Wayne Knight. Down to Stormy.
Bob, this is unfamiliar territory for this JMU team. They haven't been in this position all season long. And when I asked head coach Bob Chesney at halftime what he told his players down like this in the locker room, he said it was all about aggressiveness on both sides of the ball. We need to come out here and show we have some aggression. And remember yesterday we were talking to Coach Chesney. He said he wanted his team to leave this field with the feeling that they had no regrets, and they need to show that here.
Again, 5 years ago they were FCS competition as Barnett follows a blocker, quarterback run for about 3 yards. So there is something to be said, Lewis, for being the Sun Belt champions and trying to continue to play as best you can tonight. You're trying to build a culture, you're trying to build that program, and Bob Chesney is going to leave behind a heck of a team as he heads to UCLA.
Yeah, they definitely have already established a culture here.
And Billy Napier will be on the sideline next year to keep it going.
Yeah, you're right. And the question is, how many of the players stay here? How many follow, Bob Chesney to UCLA? How many want to go ahead and try and level up and play a higher level of competition? And do they have to rebuild this roster yet again for the 3rd season in a row?
Barnett underneath on 3rd down. It's broken up. Wislowski met by Jerry Mixon. So it'll be a punt for James Madison.
I mean, think about when Kurt Signetti left JMU and went to Indiana. He took a whole group of players with him, and Bob Chesney had to bring in like 65-something recruits, 65-something new players, and had to do it again this year. Now he's leaving. He's going to take some players. That's kind of the price of doing business as a group of 5 team, as a team like JMU. That's your roster's going to turn over and over and over.
They'll fake the punt. And spin is Dupree for a first down and more.
There you go.
So they pull out the trick play on the fake punt, and Lakota Dupree picks up 16 yards.
See, really, it's just a direct snap right to Dakota, and he just takes it up the middle, kind of like a zone blocking type of scheme, and hits the spin move and continues to fight for extra yardage. And that's the kind of aggression, obviously, that Bob Chesney is talking about. We're going to pull out all the stops. No regrets. Don't leave anything on the call sheet. Let's try and get some points on the board.
Empty backfield. Iowa Day splits out as a wide receiver and now goes in motion. Backwards pass. It looked like DeGennaro for a second was thinking about throwing the football. It wasn't there, so the Scampers, Bryce Betcher, chased him to the sideline. It's a gain of 5, but looked like he wanted to go airborne.
Yeah, he was looking for Lakota Dupree, running a little 7 route, a little flag route down the field, but the Oregon safeties playing with great depth, great eyes, they weren't having it.
Now Wayne Knight back into the right of Barnett. Button hook to the sideline. Makes it out, yes! He's trying to find the foot. Pylon makes a move into the end zone for a James Madison touchdown. Terrific catch and run by Nick DeGennaro, 47 yards. And a reason for the Dukes fans to celebrate.
See, Oregon ran a corner fire blitz, and as the safety rotated over the top, number 21, Aaron Flowers, he dismisses the open field tackle on Nick DeGennaro, who I believe was their fastest, most explosive wide receiver out in the open field. And there you saw the speed, the elusiveness, and the ability to hit explosive plays. That's exactly what JMU needed.
Super senior that began his career at Maryland, found his way to Richmond, capping his career at James Madison with a touchdown in the college football playoff. And that's a memory that will last forever.
Good for his nice execution on the part of JMU. Someone's going to have to make a play, make somebody miss in the open field. Get to your most explosive guy and let him go to work. 34-13.
This place is bigger than I thought.
So we've only got 1 hour. Could you plan us a tour?
I see you're at the Lean Museum. Shall we focus on traditional Korean art?
Well, we are in Korea, so...
Today's games, just tell Siri, show me the college football scores.
So James Madison's Nick DeGennaro with his 5th touchdown of the season for JMU and the 21st overall in his college career. Little life down on the Duke sideline as they find the end zone for the first time. Bob Wischusen here with Lewis Riddick. And on the sidelines, Chris Buck, Stormy Bonatoni. The final game of the college football playoff first round. A knuckleball line drive kick. Fielded by one of the up men for Oregon out to about the 38-yard line goes Saliapaga. And let's take a look at the college football playoff bracket. The quarterfinals, as Oregon, barring a real James Madison miracle, headed to South Florida to take on Texas Tech in the Capital One Orange Bowl. And how about the scene in the Ole Miss locker room today, Lewis? The game ball being presented to Pete Golding, the Locker room goes crazy, and now they've got an SEC rematch game with Georgia in the All-State Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one to watch. I mean, they just ran out of gas in that first matchup against Georgia. The defense in particular just kind of folded down the stretch. But man, Ole Miss offense, it's just so nice to see Charlie Rice Jr. was able to come back and lead Trinidad Chambers in that offense. They are as explosive as any offense in college football right now.
So Saliapaga, who was an up man who fielded that knuckleball kick and was granted the return out to about the 35-yard line, may have had his knee down when he fielded the ball. So they're going to head to replay just to see if maybe his knee was down further back towards the 20-yard line. Let's take a look and see if when he gets possession of the football, he has a knee down.
Clearly.
It looks pretty clear. So that'll put him back inside the 25-yard line. And that just means more real estate maybe for Dante Moore to be able to cover.
It does. See right there about the 24-yard line. But Dan Lanning had his team out here warming up early to come out and start here this second half. I would expect this football team, once we're able to put this ball back in
After
play.
video review, the returner's knee was down at the 24-yard line with possession of the ball. It'll be first down at the 24-yard line.
I think Dan Lanning, as you see him there on the screen, I mean, he is obviously determined to make sure that his football team stays sharp and stays locked in and stays focused regardless of what the scoreboard says. That's probably not the start to the second half he had envisioned. Let's see what Dante Moore's got.
Well, they're a top 10 scoring team, and tonight already making the 9th time in the last 13 games this season that Oregon has gone over 30 points in a game, and this is 34 of their last 41 that they have scored 30-plus points. The toss here. He streaks out across the 30 to the 31-yard line, picks up 7. Who's going to get it? Came over to make the tackle for JMU.
You see how quickly they're able to capture the edge and how their tight ends out on the perimeter, Saliapaga, Kenyon Sadiq, they just get on their guys and just start pushing and driving people and just create running lanes for these running backs to hit it downhill. I mean, it is like artwork out there.
Turning upfield. Getting out to the 47-yard line is Malik Benson, 16 more yards.
And you see how quickly, once he catches the ball, he turns into a runner. Feet hit the ground, it is exploding upfield. I mean, that's coaching. That's something that obviously is emphasized on the practice field here, day in and day out. These guys play at a tempo that just jumps out at you when you watch them play.
Whittington. Midfield. He's got 8. You know, Malik Benson also, talk about the ultimate teammate. I mean, he came here behind Gary Bryant, McClellan, and Evan Stewart, who got hurt back over the summer. He may be making a return in the not-too-distant future. And, you know, Dan Lanning told us Malik Benson was a look team wide receiver when he first arrived. As Moore is going to take a shot. Guess who? Benson. Touchdown. Right on cue. So the guy that starts the year as a look team wide receiver and doesn't mind being on the skip team gets a chance to play with all the injuries. And boy, has he become an Oregon weapon. He does it again.
It's just poor eyes on the part of the corner, number 2, Elijah Culp. Well, actually, it's the safety that's out there, Tyler Brown. He's just in a position that he's not accustomed to being in, out there on the corner. And really all Malik Benson has to do is just run straight up the field. That's all he has to do. I mean, that's just not playing with good eye discipline, not playing with good fundamentals. And against this football team, what do you think is going to happen? You let these guys run down the field uncontested, Dante Moore's going to find him. You see, he just looks out to his left, keeps two hands on the football, so as a defensive back, you shouldn't be biting on any kind of pump fakes. That's just too easy for Oregon. They're going to embarrass you. You turn guys loose like that.
The Apple A19.
Look at the acceleration once he gets out in the open field as measured by miles per hour. 23 miles per hour in a game.
Wow. Is that fast?
That is absolutely flying. And then here, Dante Moore just on the straight go route. Just hit your back foot and let it go. Malik Benson stack the wide receiver, stack the corner rather, and then just hit a second gear. Dante Moore just drops it right in on him. And then here, this is just a coverage bust. This is just poor fundamentals on the part of Tyler Brown and this JMU secondary. And Malik Benson is going, hey, I'll take another one of those. I'll take another explosive play. And this has just been very uncharacteristic of James Madison's defense all season long. They are now just making mistakes that are totally out of character for them, and they're going to pay the price for it on the scoreboard.
So Oregon with yet another touchdown. They scored on their first 5 drives of the game. And Dante Moore now with 5 total touchdowns tonight, 4 through the air, 1 on the ground. That last touchdown, by the way, as Oregon continues to pile up the yards, their 5th play tonight of 40-plus yards. And one of your keys to the game were plays of 20-plus yards and being in that 5 to 7 range. Oregon's got 5 plays of 40.
And one of them hit 5 to 7 plus 20-yard plays where they're like, how about this? How about we'll double that in terms of yardage? But yeah, it just speaks to the talent level that these young men possess.
Another blitz. Arnett squeezes one down the sideline that Wisłowski can't hold in. It looks like you've got one of the offensive linemen down for the Dukes. That's Pat McMurtry, the right tackle.
Timeout on the field for a player injury.
He's the most experienced starter on this James Madison team up front, making his 56th career start tonight. So we'll check on McMurtry when we come back.
So for Mom, I was thinking...
I thought she didn't want anything.
Well, like when she says she doesn't want any fries?
And she eats all her fries.
Exactly. What if we get her the new iPhone 17 Pro at AT&T? We can get her that.
years to make the trip from Cleveland to Eugene. And despite the challenges, the pain he's in right now, made it clear he wasn't missing this for the world, Bob.
That's amazing. Fathers and sons. And
yes, sir.
You think there was any of those doctors that were going to tell him, don't come? He was coming. Total screen. Getting a push from behind is Wisłowski. Picks up 5 yards. And what could possibly mean more to a father than to see his son have a chance to coach on a stage like this?
Yeah, look, obviously seeing the children execute their chosen profession, something that they love and something that they're passionate about, is something you don't want to miss out on. Any chance that you have to kind of view them at work, that's just something you're going to want to do. And hats off to the entire family, this entire situation.
Another blitz. Escape pass closes for Barnett. Bear Alexander got there first. And he is spun down behind the line for a sack.
And here you're going to see Bear Alexander, who we haven't called his name a lot, just get the upfield charge and win on the outside edge of the right guard, and then just finish it off with the sack. I mean, him and Amari Washington, how far this Oregon football team goes and how well this Oregon defense goes, a lot of it's going to be determined by those two big men in the middle. They are both fantastic athletes, can play the run and the pass. And there you got a little bit of a taste of what Alexander brings.
Returnable for Malik Benson. Scampers to the sideline with a stiff arm. Elite stars return. Youth faces rise, and the intensity hits another level. Unrivaled Season 2 tips off January 5th on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max. So back to the offense, Oregon. Dante Moore working on a night. He's got 272 yards and 4 touchdowns through the air. He's tacked on a 5-yard touchdown run as well.
See, we talked about Dante Moore's emotional intelligence and how he likes to keep everyone involved. We haven't heard Kenyon Sadiq's name very much here tonight as a wide receiver. And Decorian Moore, a fantastic freshman, he's on the field. I bet you they try to get the ball to him here at some point.
Jay Harris over for a cutback lane and not finding much. Well, Jamari Johnson made that amazing one-handed touchdown catch to start the game, and he has been tremendous over these last 3 games for Oregon, combining with Kenyon Sadiq. And Lewis, when you have 2 tight ends that can both flex out and can both run wide receiver type routes with speed, and how much flexibility does that give you as a play caller in terms of like the different personnel groups you can put in the game?
When you put 12 personnel on the field like that, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, it really puts the defense in a bind.
Pass over the head of Tierra Hill.
Because what it winds up doing is when you have tight ends that can, in essence, by formation variation, can like play the role of wide receivers, then you got to decide as a defense, well, do I want to go with nickel and put nickel on the field, smaller people, and then they bring those guys back in and they just kind of put their big people on your little people?
Right.
Or do I want to keep big people on the field where they can then exploit the one-on-one matchup from an athletic standpoint? That's just what makes Oregon so multiple.
3 players all stacked in a line right up for the A gap defensively. And they're all coming on the rush. And breaking off the route was Decorian Moore. So miscommunication there with Dante Moore. And it looks like this will be the first punt of the night for Oregon. Although I know when you were watching tape, you saw Kenyon Sadiq and Jamari Johnson as blockers as well. I mean, when they're on the field with a 2 tight end personnel group, how do you diagnose that? Are they going to throw the ball or they're going to run the ball?
You don't. That's part of the problem. And look, I mean, Jamari Johnson is 6'5", 260. So he's like a small offensive tackle. You throw on somebody to take, I go back to like the USC game, he's taking defensive ends and just turning them and torquing them and dumping them on the ground. That's why they're so multiple and so dangerous. But just getting back to Decorian Moore, Dante Moore was trying to get the ball to him on that drive. And they're going to get him another deep shot. I promise you he's going to score a touchdown in this game.
Bit of a knuckle punt there from James Ferguson Reynolds, but it takes an Oregon roll Out of bounds.
Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm.
Alonzo Barnett, they've hit him a lot. Here you can see Betcher coming off the edge, and it just affects the timing as far as Barnett and his comfortableness in the pocket. Here again, he's getting hit as he releases the football, that time by Tuioti, and then Bear Alexander with a nice rush. That's the 3 technique on the outside shade of the guard. He's able to finish it off, get his hips clear, get up the field, and then retrace back down the line and finish it off. Look, Alonzo Barnett, he's really been up against it here tonight. I mean, just look at these 34 dropbacks, 13 pressures, 7 quarterback hits. Just not able to operate from a clean pocket very often. It's been a tough, long night for the JMU offense.
It's just a great example of how the pass rush, even if you're not getting sacks, can still be very impactful. Picks up 3 yards. Because they've tipped 4 balls at the line, and just so many different times have affected Alonzo Barnett, even if they haven't sacked.
Absolutely. And just on that run play, see, Wayne Knight looked like he had some space. He was about to burst onto the second level. Oregon playing this robber scheme this time. They had safety Peyton Woodyard playing the role that Dylan Thieneman usually plays, and he just closed that off immediately. So much speed on both sides of the ball.
Tempo Kozlowski, and he can't haul it in. So it will be 3rd down and 7.
See, there's an example. That time it was defensive end Ashton Porter who's coming in, and Ashton Porter is 6'3", 6'4", and Alonzo Barnett has to change his arm angle again. And again, it's that pressure, it's that disruption, those disruptive type of plays. It's not necessarily just about sacks all the time. You make the quarterback feel uncomfortable. He's just not able to settle in and find any kind of rhythm, and that's been the story here tonight.
Oregon brings another blitz. And that forces an air mail throw from Barnett. over the head of Isaiah Alston.
That time it's safety Aaron Flowers again. This time just coming from depth. So Tosh Lupoy just kind of disguising the blitzes, changing up the looks, bringing different players. But they're getting free runners and free hits on Alonzo Barnett seemingly every play.
Blocked by. And it's going to be a scoop and score. Jane Lamar runs it in. And now special team strikes and adds another 6 for Oregon.
This is all created by defensive end number 9, Blake Burgess, who quite honestly just runs over tight end Lakota Dupree, who gives, if I have to say it, just an embarrassing effort as far as his ability to block and stand firm in punt protection. This is just unacceptable. If you're Lakota Dupree, you're going to look at this tape and you're going to go, that's just not the standard that we play to. It gets pushed right back into the punter's lap. You're going to see Purchase come off the edge of your screen right here, but just keep your eye on number 15, Lakota Dupree. Look at the effort that he gives. This one-on-one protection, he ducks his head and basically cringes on contact and then backs right up into the punter. I mean, that's just unacceptable. You just can't have that happen. This should be an easy punt. This should be something that James Madison's able to get off and put their defense back on the field instead. Oregon finds another way to put up more points. That's just the kind of thing that can't happen.
That's Jade Lamar's 4th touchdown of the season. He had 3 on the ground, and I guess that's another one on the ground, but on special teams. As the running back with a scoop and score, and the frustration continues for Bob Chesney. Harris Lopez will run it out and gets to about the 20-yard line. Chris, you doing a workout down there, or are you leaving it all to the Duck?
I'm not. The Duck's going to be a little sore tomorrow. You know, he does push-ups, not for every touchdown, but the total of the score after every touchdown. So if you add it all up, it's now 140 push-ups and counting.
I called a Wisconsin game one time where Bucky does the same thing, the Badger. But Wisconsin scored like 70 points in the game. And in the late 3rd quarter, early 4th quarter, we actually witnessed Bucky tap out, ran up the tunnel, and a taller Bucky emerged from the tunnel because the first Bucky just couldn't do any more push-ups. He was to his workout limit, so they actually went to the bullpen for a replacement Bucky.
He just turned in his mascot head and said, here, you got it.
I just can't do it anymore.
This Oregon football team is just hitting on all cylinders. And right now, they're just stealing the fight and taking the fight out of this JMU football team. They're going to have to dig deep so this game doesn't get any further out of hand and have some competitive pride. Finish off this last 21, 22 minutes.
Arnett loops one of the sideline, flag out. It's behind Wisłowski, but the flag thrown about 10 yards closer to the line of scrimmage. And this might be offensive pass interference. It was a pick set by James Madison, and they got caught.
Yeah, they're going to get DeGennaro.
Pass interference, offense, half the distance to the goal, remain 2nd down.
you see DeGennaro right here just come right in here and set the pick. As Wisłowski just kind of comes right off of that and tries to run up the boundary. Just another error, continuing to put this offense behind the chains against this Oregon defense that right now is just locked in.
Barnett, check down, and Wayne Knight can't hold on. So now it will be third down and 19 for James Madison.
See, now the concentration is starting to wane. It's starting to leave these players. They see what the inevitable outcome is likely going to be. And their concentration and their ability to kind of remain focused is just leaving them. The music gets louder. The Oregon defense is just playing. They're having fun out here now. When you're beating a team like this, you're just having fun and playing ball. And you can just take the life right out of the opponent.
And running for his life. And just heaves it up the sideline out of bounds to throw it away. And it was Tatum Tuioti with the latest pressure up front for Oregon, as Barnett has been under heat a lot tonight.
I mean, Tuioti has had like 3 runs, and it's kind of been turned loose by this JMU offensive line. A lot more than you would expect for a guy who has 7 sacks on the season and came into this game as the leading sacker on this team. Look, Tosh Lapointe told us there's going to be some information gathering early on in this football game and see what they can, how JMU is going to try to attack them, and then they would lock in. And here they go.
Lane Benson cuts back, breaks a tackle, can't break another. But Oregon will start in plus territory. So the Ducks well on their way to taking on Texas Tech in South Florida. Of course, the Red Raiders with a 12-1 record to win the Big 12 this season, their first trip to the college football playoff. And you have to go all the way back to 1936, the beginning of the AP poll era, to put in perspective the offensive performances this year by Texas Tech, and the defensive performances as well. They have 12 wins by 20 or more points. The only team in the entire AP era to have more than that was the 2018 Clemson team. They had 13, so tied second basically all time in the modern era of college football, winning lopsided games.
The last time we saw Texas Tech in that Big 12 championship, they looked dominant.
And the 2 freshmen now play a little wildcat football. Jordan Davison takes the direct snap, and it's freshman to freshman. Hands it off to De'Aaron Hill. Gain of only a yard. So now it's almost experiment time for Dan Lanning and Will Stein, the play caller.
You can get some guys some reps. As you see, they got Jay Harrison here now at running back, who goes 6'2", 224 himself. Get some guys some playing time, because you never know who you're going to need as you continue to advance through these playoffs.
Backwards pass to Jeremiah McClellan. He's breaking tackles down to the 31-yard line, a first down.
And just look at that effort, that second effort. You have 3 guys right there, and he's running through all 3 of them, continuing to fight like they're the ones that are down multiple touchdowns in this football game. But McClellan and Malik Benson, they have been the unsung heroes of this football team here down the stretch.
Dante Moore up the seam. McClellan again. It's first and goal.
Look at this throw. How he just layers this ball in between 3 defenders. 3 defenders. Look at the hole that he hits right here, right over the referee's head. That is a first-round, top-of-the-draft quarterback type of throw. And that's why his decision, ultimately when he makes it, is going to be something that everyone is holding their breath waiting for. Is he going to leave? Is he ready to go? Does he feel like he needs more time? Just look at that stat line here tonight.
Mosh pick. Jay Harris doesn't pick up much. Well, Dante Moore's already shown the maturity to maybe take a year off for his own development. But this is a development quarterback.
Look at the anticipation. Look how he throws the receiver open, kind of sits him right down in that zone.
He transferred from UCLA knowing he was going to sit behind Dylan Gabriel for a developmental year. And still a year later, Mel Kiper has him as the #1 overall prospect if he decides to come out at age 20. He'll be 20 years old on draft day.
It's the poise and calmness in the pocket.
And a clean pocket again. This time, a little too much air on the ball over Sadiq.
Oh, I think he had to get that over top of Trent Hendrick. Trying to get that ball up and down. Doesn't have a whole lot of space to do it. He maybe just misfired that one. And Sadiq was open.
This is the 6th play of the drive. This is the most plays of any Oregon possession tonight. All out blitz. Sideline over the sideline. And it is an interception. Justin Eaglin has the sideline and gets blown up out of bounds inside the 40-yard line of Oregon. So that time the blitz from James Madison. We're going to have flags after the play. Sire West was over defending Eaglin.
You see, he's trying to get this ball to Jamari Johnson, who falls down at the end of the route. You're going to see him here. He's just going to try and release out here. You're going to see Eaglin. Right place, right time. Just makes the interception. You see there, Jamari Johnson, the ball's underthrown because Dante Moore was under pressure. It always happens when it's
After
just
the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, passing team, number 9. 15 yards will be added to the play. As number 9's first unsportsmanlike foul of the game.
And you can see Jamari Johnson come over and go face mask to face mask after the play was over with Eaglin.
Yeah, it was Jamari that Dante Moore was trying to get the football to.
This, by far, the best starting field position of the night for James Madison, beginning on the doorstep of the red zone. Here comes an all-out blitz. They're going to run right into it. Bouncing off tacklers, trying to find some room is Wayne Knight. There were a couple of Ducks just running full speed downhill at the snap. And still, Wayne Knight was able to work his way for 3 yards.
Fantastic point. Says, hey, look, we're not holding back. How about this? We're going to blitz our linebacker on the 22. Braden Platt, Aaron Flowers coming downhill as well. Just keeping the pressure on.
Screen is lost. Goes to a first down. Run out by Naeem Offord. About a yard short of the line to gain, so it will be 3rd down and 1 at the 12. It'll take us down inside of a couple of minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Wayne Knight scoots through the line, and he's got enough. It'll be 1st and goal at the 9.
Where now Alonzo Barnett's legs come into play. Primarily, they've been trying to get the ball out here on the perimeter with these quick wide receiver screens and little option routes, and whip routes. Tonight, 3 possessions, no TDs. They've had to settle for field goals. It's just something that put them behind the 8 ball right from the get-go.
Barnett backpedaling, flags everywhere as he hoists one to the sideline. I think 3 different officials saw the same holding penalty.
Holding, offense, number 68, 10-yard penalty. It's still first down.
It's true freshman guard Trent Wilson called for the hold.
Yeah, this is about as blatant of a hold as you could possibly see in the game of football. Just keep your eye on number 68, Trent. Just watch this. I mean, he basically doesn't even try to hide it. He says, look, I just can't let you go, man. I can't let you hit my quarterback. It's just been that kind of night for this offensive line. And that's why Alonzo Barnett has just been under duress. They just don't have the foot speed and the lateral range to handle the kind of athletes that Oregon is throwing at them up front.
start. Offense, number 55. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
When this was still a game in the first half, we had a couple of situations, again, where James Madison, as you said, Lewis, got to the red zone on their opening possession and stalled and had to kick a field goal. On their second possession, got to the 10-yard line, trying to make it a one-score game at the time. And they committed a couple of penalties that just knocked them out of any realistic goal-to-go distance, and they've done it again. Barnett, this time all day to throw. Loops right back left corner of the end zone. And a rolling catch, it looks like it's made for the touchdown. George Pettaway, the wheel route down the sideline. And a dime from Alonzo Barnett.
This is a nice play design. The way in which they sneak Pettaway out of the backfield and get him one-on-one against the linebacker 23, Braden Platt. He releases up inside the offensive tackle. As he secures the ball, ball doesn't move all the way through the ground. That is a really nice play design and really nice execution on the part of JMU.
First touchdown of the season for George Pettaway. And James Madison has 20 points on the board. That's the first time they've gotten to the red zone and connected for touchdown.
You're going to see Pettaway. He's just going to release up inside the tackle and down the boundary. They're just isolating the linebacker, number 23, Braden Platt, who recognizes it. He sees it. He just does not have the foot speed to keep up with Pettaway. He just runs away from him. And Alonzo Barnett just throws a perfect ball in the corner of the end zone. Again, take another look at it from Skycam. He recognizes it right away. But they've got the matchup that they want. And Pettaway has got real speed. It shows up on tape when you watch JMU throughout the season. He can really go in a straight line. And he just outruns him to the corner of the end zone.
So that's Pettaway's first touchdown of the year and his third career receiving touchdown. North Carolina transfer, second year, James Madison. Cristiano Rosa rolls one to the 30-yard line. Saliapaga scoops another one up. Hard Knocks in season with the NFC East takes you behind the seasons as the Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, and Commanders fight for a division title. New episodes Tuesdays at 9 Eastern on HBO Max. Where will Dante Moore be playing next season? Will it be in that league or still in Eugene, Oregon?
You see Alonzo Barnett with the nice touchdown throw. He's been under duress all night long. Dante Moore, I'm sure he wants to make amends for the interception he threw previously that led to the touchdown that JMU just scored.
Direct snap to Jordan Davison. Speed to the edge.
Wow.
First down.
Understand now, Jordan Davison is close to 240 pounds. He's 6 foot 236, takes the direct snap. And they've been able to get on the edge any time that they want. They have just run the football with amazing efficiency. The outside run game. It's been impressive.
307 passing yards for the Ducks, and now they're up to 178 rushing yards. More under center with a handoff to Davison. And this time he's stopped at the line of scrimmage by Zaire West. So unless Oregon opts to snap the ball before the end of the quarter, they don't have to. That might take us to the end of the third. And they're lining right back up. They want to try to get another snap off before the end of the quarter. Unless it's a hard count from Dante Moore. And now the look over. Now it looks like they might let the rest of the time expire. So we'll head to the fourth quarter here at Autzen Stadium. Dominant performance so far by the Ducks. You're watching the College Football Playoff first round, presented by Allstate.
The message coming out of half was to put your foot on the pedal. What would you like to see out of your group in this final quarter?
A finish. Yeah, just go out here and finish, right? We've given them a couple things. We've done a poor job executing a couple things here as well. So we just got to go out here and finish the fourth quarter the way we can play.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
That's Coach. He will always be a perfectionist, trying to find the things to correct, even though his team is up 48-20. And the crowd here at Autzen not taking their foot off the gas pedal either as we start the fourth quarter. Shoes in Lewis Riddick. Chris Button and Stormy Bonantoni down on the sidelines. The final game of the College Football Playoff first round. Your thoughts on your first trip to Autzen, taking in this atmosphere?
Yeah, I'm just kind of soaking it in, looking around. I mean, not a single person has left here. This place is still jam-packed. All of Oregon's starters still on the football field.
Toss to D.R. Hill. And he spins for a couple of yards. And there is something to be said for playing at least these first-round games. And who knows, maybe down the road, these atmospheres being so electric and so fun, they'll play even more games of the college football playoff.
No doubt.
In home stadiums.
I think it's a good thing. It's a great thing, as a matter of fact. That this is the format that they are using here for the first round, because these games are just so fun.
Rolling out is Dante Moore. Tosses one to the sideline to Davison, who drops it. second time, I believe, tonight. The punt group will come out for the Ducks.
When the offense gets back on the field, assuming that they keep their frontline starters in, we need to highlight guys like Kenyon Sadiq, who are going to be first-round players in the NFL at the next level, he hasn't had a big statistical night. But we need to highlight his competitiveness as a blocker, as this game, there are 4 scores in this game. And he's still playing like the score is 0-0. There's a reason why this football team's as good as it is.
The rugby-style kick rolls all the way down to the 11-yard line.
Dr. Pepper presents a playoff.
Back in Eugene. The first 5 possessions of the night for Oregon were all touchdowns, and they've never looked back. 48-20, they have the lead on James Madison, the champions of the Sun Belt, in the opening round of the college football playoff. JMU back to the offense at their own 11-yard line. So the long field out in front of them. Alonzo Barnett still fighting the good fight. He has been under pressure a lot tonight. A lot of blitzes have come his way from Tosh Lupoy, and this time he's got room to run. Step to the sideline and get right to the first down marker. So a 10-yard gain. Naeem Offord forced him out of bounds. Might be inches short of a first down. Second down. About the length of the football to go.
This Oregon defense really doesn't like to expose its secondary to big plays. They are big play averse. You see, they play a lot of too high looks. So even here late in the football game, continuing to keep a lid on this JMU offense by and large and try and prevent the big plays and make them go the long, hard way to try and score any points.
Running back to help the quarterback is Jalen Sanchez, and he's loose to the sideline. Out of bounds near midfield. Well, you talked earlier about how at times when the game gets lopsided for JMU, they might be losing concentration. Is that the case for Oregon at all?
Yeah, here, the corner Obi Daker, he's got to keep outside leverage. He has all of his teammates pursuing the football inside out. And he lets Jalen Sanchez get outside of him where he's got no help and he can just run up the sideline. That's just a lack of concentration. That's just not playing good fundamental football here in the fourth quarter when you're up by 4 scores.
Looping throw, and it is there over the shoulder for DeGennaro. Nice touch throw from Alonzo Barnett. Had to adjust to DeGennaro, but he did it well.
And here's another example. Now you got Peyton Woodyard just playing poor technique. DeGennaro gets behind him. No, that's 2 chunk plays in a row. And that's because that's just a lack of concentration, fundamental breakdowns. When you see Dan Lannon, he is pacing on the sideline now. You can tell he is getting a little bit annoyed about this.
Incomplete. Open for Logan Kyle.
Here, Peyton Woodard, you just got to keep outside leverage, and if he, or at the very least, just wheel with this slot fade type of route by DeGennaro, not just reach your arms out and try and grab him, but give some ground, get your hips open, and run down the field. You can see Lanning, he's just giving his team the deaths there.
Another batted ball, the 5th of the night. That one was knocked down by Kingston Lopa.
Lopa just playing that kind of robber position that Feeneman plays. Able to get his hands up, time to jump, time to throw.
Third down and 10. And they find a crease for Wayne Knight. He's got the first down. Make it 1st and goal at the 10-yard line.
It's a nice little trap type of scheme here. You see they get the block out on Bear Alexander, and they're up on the 2nd level in a hurry. No Bryce Betcher in the game, no Dylan Tiedemann in the game right now, and you can just see the interior of the defense getting attacked a little bit with this run game, but it's the communication errors, the mental breakdowns in the back end as far as technique that are costing Oregon right now.
Barnett high over the head of Wisłowski. So 2nd down goal from the 10. You can see Joby Mallory, number 28, there right next to Barnett. He's an Oregon native. This was a great game for him, a homecoming game. He dreamt of playing for Oregon when he was growing up. Began his career as a walk-on at Portland State and then eventually transferred. And he is behind that bunch set to the left. See if the ball ends up with number 28 here. No, it's quarterback run. The City's Park. And Barnett gets down inside the 2. So that odd formation cleared out personnel, I guess. And Barnett saw a lane. Kingston Lopa saved the touchdown.
Yeah, they definitely had the numbers in their favor. They had 5 blockers up front on the offensive line for 4 guys, for 4 down linemen.
That puts James Madison over 400 yards of offense.
There's some things in this game that Dan Lanning's going to want to clean up, and I understand that the game isn't in danger of being lost by them at the current moment. But as they've rotated more players in here, the mistakes have started to increase.
A little Philly special. Leading into the end zone is Lakota Dupre. It looked like he might wanted to throw the football, and instead, he did the work himself. So the tight end on the reverse scores.
nice job of recognizing what the play ultimately was going to become, which was that they had a run-pass option. They could have thrown the ball out here to Alonzo Barnett, but he was covered nicely by the quarterback Alford. And if you're Kingston Lopa, you just can't go low and try and tackle someone at the goal line like that. They're just going to jump over you and score. More or less, you're making a business decision. You don't want to take him on up top. But Kingston Lopa goes 6'5", 210.
So James Madison lines up to go for 2. Barnett back to the end zone. In the corner, incomplete. Isaiah Alston couldn't climb the ladder. So it's a 22-point lead for Oregon with 10:26 to go in the fourth quarter. Was a flag thrown.
Illegal shift. Offense, number 52 and 18 were moving and never got reset for a second. Now penalties decline. The result of the try is no good.
So with 10.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, James Madison finds the end zone again. The leap by Lakota Dupree. And 6 more for JMU.
The guy sitting next to your girl and a kiss.
Teams that were the top 4 seeds and got the buys this season fare any better than they did in year 1 of the college football playoff, the new 12-team format? We'll find out. Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas Tech. The top 4 seeds. 3 teams already officially know their opponent, and Texas Tech awaits the winner of this game. And James Madison trying to keep some faint hope alive as a hands team is out there for Oregon, expecting an onside kick. After James Madison pulled within 22, Cristiano Rosa has the ball on the tee. And a bunch set on either side of the field for the Dukes. And they are lining up to go for the onside kick. Rosa changes sides. Bunts it, and it's immediately covered. Peterman in perfect position to field the ground ball, and so that means Oregon, with the failed onside kick, will begin in plus territory 10.5 minutes to go.
So have it 1st and 10.
And with the score 48-26, Lewis, there is still a segment of the audience that is very interested in where this score sits right now.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah, the 2-point try for James Madison was interesting to that audience, to say the least.
I'm sure it was. And now you got still all the regular starters. As a matter of fact, the starters that started the football game, the exact starting group that started the game is out on the field here now.
And you've got Noel Whittington back in with Dante Moore in the backfield. And they will run it with Whittington. Still arms his way to the sideline and fights for 4 yards. Trent Hedrick bumped him out. It's the number 2 rush defense in America for James Madison that Dan Lanning's team is going up against. Of course, that was in the Sun Belt Conference, but against 9 Sun Belt opponents, they only allowed 143 second-half rushing yards the whole season. And Marshall had 141 of those in one game. So in their other 8 conference games, they allowed 2 total second-half rushing yards. I don't think I've ever seen a statistic close to that for a defense. As the screen finds its way to Malik Benson. He's got about 1.5 yards.
Yeah, 76.2 rushing yards per game allowed. Oregon knocking on the door, just one more explosive run away from maybe going over 200 for the game, as you see the graphic pop up on our screen there at the bottom left.
And conversely, Oregon has run for 200 or more yards in half their games this season. So they're a top 14 rushing offense, and that's in the Big Ten.
The outside run game has been where they have really hurt JMU here today.
Again, wide open to the sideline, Malik Benson. And Dante Moore puts it right on him for a first down.
Well, he had the corner out leverage right from the get-go, and the safety can't get out underneath, and you're going to see him there. He just runs the quick speed out. In the corner, number 30, Justin England. He can't get back downhill on it. And DJ Barksdale can't get underneath it fast enough.
The 6th time this season that Oregon's offense has gone over 500 yards. And we still have 8.5 minutes to go. Davison. He slips at the 26-yard line, but he's got 5.
Tell you, when they have run the football off the left side behind All-American Emmanuel Pregnon and Isaiah Worrell, number 76, those two have really been effective as far as getting great blocks at the point of attack. 507 total yards. Knocking on the door of 50 points here. Which they're likely going to go over if they attempt a field goal at the very least. The left side of this offensive line, as they're saying, has been doing work. The tight ends blocking and running backs hitting it downhill.
Davison again. This time they get the true freshman down at the line of scrimmage. Michael McMullen made the stop. It'll be 3rd down and 5. That time they stopped Jordan Davison. But when you were saying you were looking at Jordan Davison, you think number 0 in green at some point could be, what, a top 10 pick in the draft? And he has that level of talent?
Absolutely. He's got speed, quickness, size. He can pass protect. They say that he knows all the assignments of everyone on the offense. He's just matured well beyond his years. Super intelligent running back.
Dan Lanning said his intelligence is a separator. He can line all 11 guys up. And they toss it to him again. He's got the first down. Into the red zone.
And they've got an embarrassment of riches at running back. Between him, Whittington, and De'Aaron Hill. And I've noticed it as we have made our way around the country this year. Young running backs and young wide receivers have just been fantastic. And there is a bunch of them, a bunch of young freshman skill players in the playoffs right now. There you see this 3-headed monster that they have here. All of them averaging well over 6 yards per carry. Just look, I mean, Davison has 13 touchdowns. De'Aaron Hill hit 23 miles per hour on the GPS on his long TD run. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Davison again, flag thrown behind the play. It's down at the 13-yard line. Looks like this one might be coming back.
Face mask. Offense. Number 76. 15-yard penalty. Still first down.
Isaiah World grabs the face mask.
You're going to see him right here. He's just going to reach back and grab the face mask as the defensive tackle, Taddeo, number 33.
First down, 25.
We talk about that last recruiting class for Dan Lanning and the true freshman he has on this team. Naeem Offord, Brandon Finney, who back up each other, alternating at corner. They were both top 7 cornerbacks in the country. Davison and Dier Hill are both top 10 running backs, and Decoria Moore was the number 1 wide receiver in our ESP 300. Moving along with a jump cut. So you talked about it when we began the broadcast, obviously comparing the two rosters, all of the 4- and 5-star talent that Dan Lanning has here.
Yeah, and they're just smartly supplemented through the transfer portal. They have a healthy NIL budget out here in Eugene where they can pick and choose who they want, and players are going to go in the transfer portal and want to come here. They want to play in this stadium, in this offensive system, utilize these facilities. They are in the sweet spot right now as far as modern-day college football.
Lamar, jet sweep. Little toss ahead. That was read nicely. Dante Moore flipped it to him, but Lamar lost a couple of yards. Lamar Thomas was waiting for him, held the edge and made the stop. So now it's 3rd down and long, 3rd and 17. That's the first tackle for loss of the day for James Madison. Lamar empties the backfield. Dante Moore sets up the screen to Lamar, but it's floated his way, and he had no chance. Hendrick closed the gap and brought him down.
That's just a nice read by the All-American Trent Hendrick. He's just going to beat the block of Malik Benson and make the tackle for a loss. We really enjoyed our time meeting with Trent Hendrick. A very prideful individual, has had a great career at JMU.
That was a complete catch. Timeout. James Madison.
James Madison calls a timeout with 4:22 to go.
4:27.
And they'll actually add 5 seconds. So it looks like a field goal attempt for Oregon when we come back.
Still dealing with moderate to severe ulcerative colitis?
Atticus Sappington is going to get a chance to try one from 48. He made a 51-yarder in the final regular season game against Washington. That was the longest field goal made by an Oregon place kicker since all the way back in 2008. And that was his career high. So the transfer from Oregon State, now kicking for the Ducks. His biggest kick of the year by far. The game winner with 3 seconds to go against Iowa. And Dan Lanning said we never should have left it to him, but boy did he come through when he needed to. He will come through here. Making a 25-point lead for Oregon. And Dante Moore is putting together teach tape tonight, Lewis.
He sure is. I mean, he is showing you all the things that you want to see from a high-level quarterback. Here, just looking off, coming backside, hitting his tight end, Jamari Johnson here early in the football game with a nice layer throw down the seam. Just giving his wide receiver a chance. This time Jeremiah McClellan, who makes the fantastic catch. Then he just puts up the 9 ball here to Malik Benson, who just absolutely blows by the corner, Justin Eaglin. And then here it's just a busted coverage. And Malik Benson again is the beneficiary of a pinpoint pass on the part of Dante Moore.
He's 20 years old. This is only his 18th start all time, but is he ready? I mean, you're someone that lived the personnel evaluation life in the NFL. Do you think he's ready? Or he showed the maturity to take a gap year behind Dylan Gabriel. If there was ever a guy that might say, look, I need another year, it might be him.
He sure did.
What would you tell him to do?
I think for guys like him, I think it all depends upon who the projected suitors are for him, who are the projected teams that could be drafting him. Not every situation is good for every quarterback, obviously. And I think for him, I'd want to go to a place, obviously, that has as much stability as possible. And has the kind of coaching and front office support and ownership support that will allow me a great chance at success. And you just look at his resume, you know, right now, his timeline, the number 2 recruit overall in the ESPN 300. Even though he has gone back and forth, committed to Oregon, goes to UCLA, comes back to Oregon, and sits behind Dylan Gabriel. It's that move right there. It's this one right here that really speaks to how this young man is wired.
Gain possession of the ball at the 1-yard line. The first attempt at the 1-yard line.
James Madison.
We're going to employ Matt Austin at least one time tonight. The poor guy's been sitting waiting for us to talk to him. And this, Matt, is Curtis Harris Lopez, who wanted to try and get the ball in the end zone for a touchback. They spotted it at the 1-yard line. Why?
Well, he signaled for a fair catch, and then he muffed the ball, so you can't advance it. He's lucky he did, because he picked it up in the field of play, then he took it back into the end zone, which would have made it a safety. The minute he picked it up, it was dead. So it's their ball for 1.
He thought he was going to be able to back up and get the benefit of the touchback, but obviously calling for the fair catch first, nullified that, so it'll be blown out from the end zone. He finds an inside route to DeGenero and a little breathing room out to the 4-yard line.
But Dan Lanning had seen all that he wanted to see as far as some of the mistakes and communication errors in the back end. The All-American Dylan Thielman back in the game.
James Madison snapped it too quickly. We're not ready.
False start. Offense. Not all 11 players were set for 1 second prior to the snap. Half the distance to the goal. Still second down.
So that brings the ball back to the 2-yard line. With under 4 minutes remaining. And here comes another Oregon blitz. Incomplete pass, there's the flag. DeGenero was grabbed a bit by Obidegu. And Ife Obidegu is going to be called for pass interference.
Pass interference. Defense, number 7. The ball he placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
David gets beat off the line of scrimmage. You see, De Janeiro sets him up pretty well. And you see that left hand that kind of grabs De Janeiro around the waist. You're going to see it right there. That's what they call him for, as he tries to slingshot himself back to inside leverage and get his hand on the football for the PBU. They'll call you for that every time.
James Madison has 407 yards of offense, and they've got 26 points on the board. So their offense at times tonight has produced. It's just their defense could not get a stop in the first half. And there's Wisniewski making a catch, carrying some tackles, fighting his way out to the 45-yard line. The effort's still there for the Dukes. 32 yards with 3.5 minutes to go.
That is a heck of a throw and a heck of a route by Braden Wisniewski. And you're going to see Alonzo Barnett let that ball go early and hit right in that zone void. You've seen that show up on tape as well. Wisniewski's been a guy who's been able to exploit some of those seams down the field against zone coverage.
Now Wayne Knight with a reception in plus territory.
It's natural when you have a big lead like this to subconsciously in your mind start to let up and let your mind drift as a defender and not really lock in on the details. But this cannot be making Dan Lanning happy.
The pass rush now gets home, and down goes Barnett for the second time tonight. Again, the pass rush has been there regularly tonight, pressuring Alonzo Barnett. But Ashton Porter gets sack number 2 to make it 3rd down and 5.
Really, it's Blake Purchase that really makes this sack. He's the one who's able to come off the blind side and force Alonzo Barnett up into the pocket.
They will run it with Wayne Knight. And he breaks free! Wayne Knight eyeing the end zone! To the 1-yard line. He is brought down just short of the goal line. 49 yards. That looked like the run he made to basically put away the Sun Belt Championship game against Troy.
This is just terrible tackling on the part of the secondary.
This is the 2-minute timeout
by Oregon. You see, he's just short of the goal line. 2 Oregon defenders, Aaron Flowers and Dylan Dieneman, had a chance and missed them.
I'm a Modelo recruiter, and I'm always scouting for full.
pleased with the tackling there of Oregon. That puts Wayne Knight over 100 yards in the game.
No, both safeties, Aaron Flowers and Dylan Thielman, they basically knocked each other off of the tackle attempt.
So Barnett to throw, loops one, out of the reach of the 5'7" running back Wayne Knight, but there was a flag down.
They're going to call offensive pass interference again.
Pass interference, offense, number 18, 15-yard penalty. It's still first down.
That's the second time that James Madison has been caught setting a pick. And offensive pass interference on Logan Cobb.
Yeah, you're going to see him. He's just going to take an inside release. You see him. He obviously is looking up to safety Aaron Flowers as he's trying to get out and cover Wayne Knight. Just cannot make it so obvious.
Red zone penalties tonight. Goal-to-go penalties have been a problem for James Madison.
No question.
This backs them up, goal to go, but all the way back to the 16-yard line. Oregon brings another blitz. Slam. He was right on top of Wayne Knight before he was ready.
Incomplete. Second goal for 16.
Wayne's got to be quicker, getting his head around. Nice job by Devin Jackson of just kind of jamming him as he's trying to get out of his break and kind of throws him off balance and distorts him a little bit. Even in these waning moments of the football game, these are some of the moments where coaches criticize the film and critique the film even harsher than they did at the beginning, because they hate when players start to lose their focus and start to play sloppy football.
Another blitz. Right up the gut. A nice adjustment by Barnett. And he finds Pettaway out of the backfield. Pettaway with a terrific touchdown catch earlier. And now he puts them inside the 5-yard line. 3rd and goal from the 3. So 2 cracks at it from here. Looks like right at the goal line, where the nose of the football might be touching the goal line when they spot this one, but he did come up short. A timeout's been called with 1:05 to go.
Timeout, James Madison. Their second of the half. 30 seconds in length. Please reset the game clock to 1:08.
So they had a little bit of time, and yes, indeed, you can see the ball down at about the half-yard line. So stay tuned after the game. The College Football Playoff postgame presented by AT&T with Adam Lefkoe, Takeo Spikes, Champ Bailey, and Victor Cruz. They'll have interviews, in-depth analysis of our game, and catch you up on everything that happened today and last night as well in the College Football Playoff first round. That is the postgame presented by AT&T, and that is on deck.
JMU going to be able to attack another 7 points onto this score. Show the kind of competitive character that these young men have shown all year long on the way to winning their conference championship.
Iowa Day to the right of Barnett. 4th and goal. Barnett, straight quarterback run. And he breaks the plane for the touchdown.
Touchdown.
So starting at their own 1-yard line after the Monk fair catch, they go 99 yards for the score.
It's good blocking at the point of attack. Alonzo Barnett is showing you something that he has shown you all year long. He has been a heck of a producer down inside the 20-yard line, down inside the 5, quarterback draws, quarterback counters. He's been a nightmare for teams all season long.
And they are going to go for 2 again with 1:05 to go. Gennaro pulls it in for the 2. Terrific catch. He's had a heck of a night.
He sure has. He just sets the defensive back up with a, make him feel like he's going to go outside to the pylon, then comes back inside, and see him just reach back across his body, gets both feet down as if he's playing in the NFL. I mean, that is this high-level execution. And part of the transfer from Richmond. He's had a nice season. Came into this game with 410 yards receiving, 4 touchdowns, averaging just under 19 or just under 18 yards per reception. Give these guys credit.
Yeah.
They have fought all the way to the end in what has been a long football game.
A 99-yard drive. And again, it will begin New Year's Eve between Ohio State and Miami as the college football playoff quarterfinals are all but set. Only a minute 5 seconds away from making Oregon the official opponent for Texas Tech. And it'll be a heck of a second round. The quarterfinal matchups in this year's college football playoff.
Just some incredible matchups. Are you kidding? Yeah, this Oregon Tech game is going to be a head knocker for sure. Rematches, just great stylistic matchups. It's going to be a great weekend of college football again.
Another onside kick attempt, and that is grabbed by Jerry Mixon. So now Dan Lanning's team, if they want, can go to victory formation. And a 99-yard drive to make this a 17-point game. I don't know if that necessarily qualifies as a Scott Van Pelt, Stanford Steve bad beat, but it's at least in the discussion. I'm not sure if anybody thought James Madison was going to put a 99-yard touchdown drive on the board to close things out, but Dante Moore will indeed go to victory formation. Don't have to worry about style points or votes anymore. Now it is just win and advance, and that is exactly what Oregon will do. And now they will turn their focus to a matchup in South Florida with Texas Tech, the 4 seed and the 5 seed. And 2 teams, Lewis, that score in bunches, and 2 teams that this year have played great defense at times as well.
They sure have. Like that Texas Tech Red Raider defense, oh my goodness. We saw them last, like I said, in the Big 12 championship against BYU. They were absolutely hunted. They have got a great front 7. They got huge linebackers, ball hawks at safety, size at wide receiver. I mean, it's the competition just gets better. It just gets harder and harder for these teams now. It just ratchets up. It's going to be fun to watch.
.34 is the final, and you can see Chris Button is with the winning coach.
Well, and the explosiveness that you had, you score on special teams. What are you most pleased with today?
We didn't play our best football, right? We turned the ball over multiple times. We got to play better on defense. It's like Taylor 2 halves, played well in the first half, didn't play well in the second. We can play much better than that.
As you look ahead next week to get to play Texas Tech in the Orange Bowl, what will be the...
All right, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the stream, go ahead and drop a sub. That way you can be notified for the next stream. Until next time, y'all be good.